I'm sure that if you're watching this video that you know somebody, or you yourself might even be one of those women who's always freezing. I happen to be one of them myself. And so you might have cold hands and feet, you might have nighttime urination or frequent urination, your skin's a little bit dry, your lips might be a little bit pale. And this is a very common sort of syndrome in Chinese medicine, right? Not enough heat. So when this happens, it causes a big cascade of problems. So the first is that when there isn't enough heat, there isn't enough metabolic energy to really stimulate digestion. And if digestion isn't robust, you're not able to actually take the food that you're eating, break it down efficiently, turn it into energy, turn it into blood for your uterine lining. But another really important thing happens with cold women is that in the second half of the menstrual cycle, when we're looking at their basal body temperatures, the temperatures have to get around 98.2 to indicate that they're producing enough progesterone. Around cycle day 14, if ovulation is timed correctly, LH gets stimulated, luteinizing hormone, and the follicle gets released. It travels along the fallopian tube for fertilization. The sac that held the egg is called the corpus luteum. It's a little yellow sac. And that sac is so important in reproductive health because it becomes the gland that secretes progesterone. It's sensitive to heat. So after ovulation, as the temperatures climb up into the 98s, that elevation in temperature stimulates the corpus luteum to start producing progesterone. And if the temperatures don't get high enough, then we don't get enough progesterone. We have to remember that progesterone comes from the word progestation. So in the absence of sufficient progesterone production, it is very hard to get or stay pregnant. Sometimes when we'll say, well, if my progesterone is low, I'll just take supplemental progesterone, which can be effective, although there are no data to support that supplemental progesterone makes any impact in long-term birth outcomes or reduces recurrent pregnancy loss. But physicians will prescribe it because they just have a clinical sense or wisdom-based medicine sense that it does make a difference, which is likely. However, in my opinion, when we give supplemental progesterone, when a woman can't produce enough progesterone on her own, we're actually missing the opportunity to fix something at the constitutional level that's extremely important. So if you've watched these videos before, you've seen me ask over and over and over, why? Right? So if her temperatures can't get high enough after ovulation, I want to know why. Is it because her digestion is so weak that she actually can't produce enough energy to raise her temperature? We know she can't raise her temperatures. Her hands are cold, her feet are cold, she's going to the bathroom all the time. Is it because there just isn't enough heat, that the body just can't generate enough heat? We have to figure out which one. There's a third one though. Is it because the liver isn't able to metabolize the hormones and it produces this situation that's stuckness? And this is a term that's very foreign to women until I explain it using PMS. So when you have PMS, your emotions are so stuck, like you just feel like this, right? You hear something like, "Urgh." Your breasts are stuck, right? The fluids can't move through your breasts. You have breast swelling and tenderness and pain. Your abdomen can feel stuck because fluids can't move through the intestines. You can have constipation and gas and bloating. When your period comes, the blood is stuck and you have cramping and clotting. And when that happens, if there's stuckness, pathological stuckness through the whole body, what happens is that you get the illusion that there is not enough of something. So if you imagine there's a hose, and the hose has a giant kink in it, and you turn on the faucet on one end, and the water flows through the hose, and on one side you feel all this pressure, right? It's just throbbing. And on the other, there's nothing. And so if stuckness is causing the cold, right, they'll have a lot of stuckness. Their menstrual cycle, their BBT will be very sawtoothed, right? They'll have a lot of PMS symptoms. And when you unstick them, you usually need to use herbs to help the liver function better. It opens up and almost immediately they feel warm. And so in order to understand how to help someone who's really cold and having low temperatures after ovulation, we have to figure out for those particular people why it is that they're having that.